Hello, I'm Kate Davis, and this is Humor in the C-Suite, a show about how leaders use humor to create an extraordinary work culture. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Humor in the C-Suite. My guest this week is Tariq Munir. He is a chartered accountant, certified in digital transformation from Stanford Graduate School of Business, and a certified data science professional from IBM. He is a seasoned digital and AI transformation advisor who has guided numerous business leaders in navigating and leading transformative change. With over 20 years of experience working with Fortune 500 companies, he has contributed across diverse domains such as finance, integrated business planning, supply chain, advanced analytics, and digital transformation. Okay, that might sound really nerdy and boring, but he had an amazing conversation. Tariq brings deep expertise in crafting digital strategies, leading large scale and complex digital transformation initiatives, and driving the resulting organizational change. His thought leadership in AI, data, and digital transformation reaches a global audience through his international keynote speaking, and he is a corporate trainer and a top voice on LinkedIn. I could go on, but most importantly, he is also the upcoming author of Reimagine Finance, a CFO's leadership playbook for leading in the age of data, AI, and digital. Oh my God, we had the best conversation. He has a great sense of humor and he was so insightful. You guys are going to love it. So please welcome Tariq Munir. What? I love your story. You have done so much and you were so interesting. So I thought we would just start off by telling everyone or having you tell your story, how you got to be where you are and what you're doing now.
Yeah, thanks, Kate. So I started off pretty much my professional life as as a typical finance guy, accountant. So I did my, professional qualifications, typical, how you start off with generally a consulting firm. So I started off with Big Four, PwC. Then from there on, I went on to working with ExxonMobil, and then I moved into PepsiCo. So pretty much I have mostly been working in the finance space, mostly looking after the corporate finance, financial planning, pretty much every role out there you can possibly think of in a finance space.
Yeah.
I would have pretty much done that. But over the past few years, I would say around 5 to 7 years, I have been having sort of an awakening, I would say, with all the technology changes happening around me, and whatever, wherever I look, there is, and now, as they say, whatever you do, there is an AI agent for that. So it started to actually feel like that, whenever I would look at a process, whenever I would look at any workflow, any work that I'm doing, it was like, there is automation is going to impact that or was already impacting it. So I decided to sort of get myself into it, started to get a little bit more curious, started to understand what technology is all about, how AI, data, digital transformation, how it is impacting the business processes and workflows and so on and so forth. And I would say I was so excited and fascinated by this space that I then ended up pretty much my my career moved into an entirely different direction. So I started working on digital transformation, finance transformation, and so on and so forth. So long story short, I then pretty much started to build my brand around that, build my profile around. I don't call myself an expert because again there is so much that I need to learn. Whenever I feel like, in fact, I say that whenever I feel like that I'm an expert, I start reading a book, which makes me very humble. That's a humbling experience for me. So I mean, you get the point, right? So I was trying to,
Yeah.
build my profile around that, build my thought leadership in that area, and which was working out well. So from there on, I started to put myself out there. I took a leap of faith, and for the first time in my life, 3 years ago, I decided to, just jump on a stage and give a talk to a room full of 300 people. And afterwards, I pretty much realized that, okay, maybe this is the thing I would really love doing for a living as well. So
Yeah.
from there on, I started to build it was like a sort of a passion that I found or a purpose that I found eventually. So I started to, develop myself in that area as well. again, related to AI, related to transformation, related to digital space. Started to build my public speaking skills around that, then training skills followed around that. And I was doing a lot of content creation, mostly on LinkedIn and for some other publications as well. And then I decided, I thought, okay, I might have too much content, so maybe it will be good enough for a book. So why not then create an outline and start thinking about a book? So I, just pulled out a mind mapping kind of a tool. And then I
Yeah.
just started to mind map, okay, if I were to write a book, what will it look like? What will be the different areas I will cover? And I soon realized that after a while working on that mind map for a couple of days, I would say over a period of, I think, couple of weeks, I realized that there was actually a book shaping out. So I was like, okay, sure, why not? And
Yeah.
then I started to write about it and started to write and eventually, I mean, I then pitched it to some publishers and I got a good. I was lucky to publishing my book. So it was again about digital transformation, but mostly specific to finance as well. So yeah, I would. It has been a very exciting, very rewarding journey so far. I
I
cannot.
love that. I love that your curiosity has built this as well, because you
Yes,
can't take yourself that seriously if you're going to stay curious, right?
absolutely,
Like you have to have a
absolutely.
bit of fun. So I love that. Let's go back to when you were, with these big Fortune 500 companies and you're dealing with a lot of people, we're humor in the C suite. You seem like you're a lot of fun. We just met, but how did you use humor within your teams, and did you find that it helped, like with team collaboration and stuff like that?
Oh, absolutely, Kate. I believe if there is one thing that keeps us going, right, and which humanizes us, that's humor. Because again, at the end of the day, when we are working in an environment where we have, you know, a lot of pressure to deliver deadlines, and you have like there's a never a dull moment in your life. So and you practically cannot do much, right? That's the
Yeah.
reality, right? If there are deadlines, there are deadlines. If there are projects, there are deliverables, there are deliverables. You can't really do anything about it. But I believe when you create a bit of a lighter environment within your team, that helps a lot, and it has helped me quite a lot. And to be very frank, it's not just the team's environment where it has helped me. It has also helped me. I carried that with me in my keynotes, in my talks, in my training, and that helped me a lot there as well. Because again, some of the topics I talk about, they're not really like very user friendly or
Financial AI. Let's get
yeah,
it.
yeah. so
Yeah.
so so for
Yeah.
example, I mean, I remember, like, I mean, when I was even working in my old consulting days. Now I'm like, I have a new life of consulting where I'm doing my own
Yeah.
consulting work. But when I was working with the big four, I mean, we would have very tight timelines, and we would be literally be spending our whole nights in the office, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was inevitable that we would have a lot of fun, right? We would have a lot of fun. We would uh, do a bit of leg pulling of each other. Like, I mean, just pulling
Yeah.
each other. No, sorry, not leg pulling each other's
Whenever
leg.
I work all night or I'm
Yeah,
overtired, I get the giggles.
yeah,
Always. Laughter
yeah.
tracks are coming. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it has always helped me soften the environment, make keep it light. People then see you as a human as well. People can relate it to you. They can think of you not as a manager, not just as someone who is trying to get the work done. They humanize you.
Yeah. Well, they say it's such a soft skill, but to me, it's a necessary skill, right? Because it kept
True.
the team going. It kept the team believing in what they were doing and getting it done. So I
100%.
think, yeah, I think that's amazing. So are you still, so you're still incorporating humor into your leadership styles and all that when
Oh,
you're coaching?
absolutely.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
are you find the effectiveness, like, do you notice when you go into companies that aren't using humor? that do take themselves too seriously?
I think there are a lot of people out there who take themselves too seriously.
Mm,
We have created our corporate cultures, or just the corporate environment has created this sort of a facade that if we are serious all the time, if we are taking that seriousness and are hard working as a badge of honor, or if we are a little bit too getting too easy with the rest of the people, we might give away, or we will become vulnerable, or we might give away quite a few things, which is not in other words, we will let our guard down.
yeah,
That's not right, and it happens. I have seen that happening as well,
yeah,
where some leaders, they are very much on the dot. They just want to get things done. And like, I mean, in the past, in some past life, I have worked with some people as well, who would be like, not again, I mean, nothing against them, of course. It's just their management style, but it
yeah,
is just that humor was not part of their style, right?
yeah,
So it does happen. And But again, I don't blame anyone for that. The reason being, again, humor is, again, a kind of a skill. You need to develop that intentionally over a period of time, and based on the circumstances where you are, where how would you. So for example, the humor that I would do, so I moved from Pakistan to Australia like 10 years ago. The humor that I would do with my team in Pakistan was different than the humor that I would do with my
oh,
team
I
in
love
Australia,
this. Okay,
because
yeah,
it's a very different. And I'll be very honest with you, in the beginning, for the first 6 months, I had a bit of a cultural shocks right, when it came to humor, because I would use a lot of humor. I would be like, sort of a person who would just go in and,
yeah,
I mean, just say something to something to someone, right, without
yeah,
even thinking. And
yeah,
then I realized, no, maybe not. That's not a good idea. Tariq,
that's
just start
okay,
thinking.
yeah,
So yeah, I learned over that. But then over the period of time, I learned that, okay, this is not the way I should be doing the humor here, right? There is a
right,
different cultural sensitivities. Again, I mean, in the environment I'm working on, I have people from like 20 different nationalities, different ethnicities, different backgrounds. Everyone can take different things differently. So what a lot of people do, a lot of leaders do, they resort to the easy path, which is not going for humor, right? Not
right.
doing it. Because
So
then,
how did you find that middle line between being yourself, using your sense of humor that you would when you were in Pakistan, to finding that connection and that humor in Australia with your team?
so I would say it was a bit of a hit and trial in the beginning.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So I mean, again, you have to take you have to take
Yeah,
a leap of faith in different scenarios. So
yeah,
it was a little bit of, in the beginning, yeah, I did move cautiously, I would
yeah,
say, because I did realize that there are a lot of things which can go backfire if you are not using humor seriously. People might think of
right.
it in a different context, in a different environment. So it's all about just being aware of your team's little bit of cultural and getting a little bit closer to them. So
Yeah,
my initial time here was all about getting close to my coworkers, getting close to my team, just understand what they are, who they are. Like, yes, they are like finance managers, or for example, they are commercial managers and they are supply chain managers, but who are they actually? Like, who are they exactly? What
yeah,
do they like? What do they dislike? What is the kind of humor, or what are the kind of things that they discuss when they're laughing? What are the things that they're actually laughing about, when because again,
yeah,
if you're hanging out with friends, even in a work environment, you need to know what you are talking about, what you are laughing about, right? I mean, if it is something which I cannot get at all, because it
yeah.
is a entirely different cultural context, or the way they have the information they have been exposed to throughout their lives, I
Hmm.
might not have been exposed to it all. So for me, it might be nothing, but for them it might be very funny. So again, it's a little bit of effort, but I think it's an effort which is well put. It is a
Yeah.
rewarding effort at the end of the day. uh,
And really brave of you to just be yourself. Look at because leaders, I'd say 20 years ago, ran with an iron, ran their companies with an iron fist.
yeah,
And what the best leaders know is they don't need to be the most authoritative in the room. They need to be the most relatable. And I
100%.
yeah, and I feel like that's what you were doing when you were just trying to be yourself. But culturally, I found with many leaders on the podcast because they are dealing with, different locations within their companies across the world globally that it is culturally you have to be sensitive to that. So I love
True.
that. And I love that you found your team and your voice in that, which I find fascinating, because you
100%.
didn't give up your leadership style. You adjusted it. And
100%. Yes.
there's room for that. So how do you what do you think in terms of productivity? Do you find it really leads to more like more cohesive team obviously leads to more productivity. But are there examples of how you use humor?
Yeah, exactly. So I would, for example, in a lot of, I remember once we, went out on this team kind of a team offsite, right?
Yeah.
And we were playing this, mini golf where you putt or mini golf,
Yeah.
right? So I somehow won, and that was something which I then kept on bragging about a lot in a quite a funny way, which was very relatable to the team. So team was like, really, they sort of, I was trying to get a little bit cocky, and they knew that I was, being cocky, and they
Yeah.
knew that I was just being fun, being funny and having fun with them.
Yeah.
So that was the time when I actually moved into, I was given this new role. I moved into that entirely new space. I had not a lot of connection with the team who was already there. They have been working in the team for a while. And for me to connect with them, it was very important that I find that sort of foot in the door, for the lack of better words,
Yeah.
maybe, or
Yeah.
something to get to become more relatable,
Yeah.
right? So that was that one instance, one event where we really made a quite I made quite a big fuss of being, really winning that, and pretty much, uh, being boasting of that in every possible way I could, and in every
Yeah.
possible meeting, in everywhere. So I mean, it created a lot of open, kind of a relatable and open kind of an environment
Yeah.
between us. And I believe that one offsite really helped. And this was just one thing, right? I mean, there were a lot of other things, a lot of other fun things that we did, a lot of other things that had humor in it. So,
Yeah.
which helped me a lot in getting onboarded with the team, and
Yeah.
build a sort of a trust with the team as well. Because when people see you as a human, they start trusting you as well, right? A little bit more.
Absolutely. And I love that. We call that in Canada because when we play games, we shit talk each other. So
Yeah,
I'm
100%.
like,
Yeah. So I was shit talking with my team, and they just loved it. I mean, we all loved it, right?
so funny. I do it. We do it with our family. Like on my birthday, every year on my birthday, I play games like old school egg on a spoon, three-legged
Wow.
races. Like, and I just see all my friends, all my family become these little kids again. And
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden everyone's, they drop their guards. It's a great pressure valve. And it does. It makes you a part of the team. And now you get to gloat about being the mini pup champion of the world,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah.
But it
Yes.
just that playfulness and going off site and changing it up can be so important. And you can
True.
also attach that to a charity,
Yeah.
like the best team, gets to contribute to this or so I find it's a feel good thing for everyone. But I love that making yourself human for your team is so important. And especially when you're coming in and they're already a team and you're having to
Yeah.
join them. So I think that's really important. Hi, it's Kate. I can't believe you made it halfway through the show. Look, if you or anyone you know would like to be a guest on Humor in the C Suite, I would love to have you. So email me, kate@katedavis.ca. Do you have any advice for leaders that, who are coming into that environment, or are there's a lot of pressure nowadays, the world's a crap show. So, like, when leaders are dealing with supply chains, which I know is something you've always dealt with, and
Yeah.
with those companies, or part of it anyway, how would you do you have advice for leaders in that?
I would again, I mean, no, we can never take out the seriousness of situation, of course,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that is of course there. If there is a business problem, there is a business problem. But if we really unpack those things, at the end of the day, as long as someone is, intentionally sabotaging something, then yes, that's not,
Yeah.
that's probably be a different story.
Yeah.
But if it is like, for example, if it is like a geopolitical situation, right, which is impacting your business, or something which is
Mhm.
impacting your business, yes, there is no denial that yes, there are things which are happening. But at the end of the day, it's humans who are running this corporate machine. And for them to run that machine effectively, they need to be treated as humans, right? So that's the basics of it, right? And one way of doing is to while you are doing it, why not have some fun on the way? Because at the end of the day, it is gonna get done, right? So
Yep.
for example, I would have a lot of pressure situations where I need to deliver a project, for example, and I'd only have 2 weeks, and something happened, totally out of our control, and we were just not able to. Like delivering the project became a question mark, or there were no delays in the project. Yes, we had to sort of course correct ourselves, sit together, and change our plan of action. But losing sort of the easier way is to just lose your cool, and then just let it out.
Yep.
Which again, and I would say, I mean, I wouldn't say I've been like
Yeah.
this forever. I have learned it over time. It's a skill, as I mentioned, right, which can be learned over time.
Yeah.
But it is again about a lot about how, as a leader, you are able to handle the pressure. So I sometimes call that, leaders are like sponges, so they need to take on a lot of pressure, and then just you know trickle down the enough that teams can take. And one way that those leaders do not burn out themselves as well is also to ensure that they are having fun while they are doing it. So
Yeah.
just try to take things a little bit lightly. Try to have fun in what you are trying to do. At the end of the day, we end up spending a major part of our lives, like the real lives,
Yeah.
working, right? So we would if in 7 days, 5 days we are not having fun, and then we are just having fun on 2 days. I think we need to rethink our, as I call the word, reimagine our definition of entertainment and fun, right? So maybe,
Yeah.
building those authentic connections at work where you can actually have fun, and where
Yeah.
you can actually, because again, humor, I know, I mean, humor, I say fun. When I say fun, I mean, through humor.
Levity. Yeah.
Yeah, levity, exactly, exactly.
Your humor, your sense of humor, or your levity gauge change if you were dealing with other people within the C suite than your team?
Yes, it does. It does. It does a bit.
Yeah. How would you change it? Or how did
So,
it
so
change?
I mean, with the team, I would say it is a little bit more relaxed, of course, right?
Yeah.
You can. I mean, again, my leadership style is more of like bit of an open as well. So if I would say something which someone would feel like, okay, it's a bit of a sarcasm, so someone will just return the
Yeah.
favor right away, and I wouldn't mind, right? That I would like, yeah,
Right.
thanks for returning the favor, right? So it's great, like it's like a two-way kind of a thing. when you are in a C-suite environment, when you are presenting some, most of the times you will be presenting something or you will be
Yeah.
discussing a point, right? So you do not have this, and you should not be using sarcasm pointed at someone, right? Because that becomes a very, there's a very thin line between, becoming rude or being, seen as non-professional or something, or just lax, right? So
Yeah.
it's important that the humor stays very objective in a sense. So for example, if I would be presenting something, I would either deprecate myself a little bit, self-depreciating humor, right? Something like
Yeah.
that. Or I would I would just talk something about a number on the slide, or something like, yeah, here is the table with numbers because we all love
Yeah.
numbers and things like that. I mean, of course, depending upon the
You're
situation.
such an accountant. We all love numbers.
So I used to do that. So I would show the slide with a lot of, with those typical slides which would have a lot of
Yeah.
numbers in
The
it, and I would
stats.
like,
Yeah.
if anyone was missing these slide, here it is, here is yours. I mean, here is that slide everyone loves. I know. So I mean, that kind of a humor, right, which is generally
Yeah.
very innocuous kind of a humor, just is
Yeah.
not pointed at someone. In a team environment, you have a little bit more, depending upon what's your level of comfort with the team. It can cross a little bit, it can get a little bit, you can cross a few things here or there, and
Absolutely.
it doesn't mind, as long as, of course, you are also willing to take on the humor as well, right? So I mean, if someone,
Absolutely. You're gonna
I
dish it
would be,
out, baby. You gotta take
yeah.
Yeah, but I love that what you said about sarcasm. You hit the nail on the head because and I was talking to a person in the C-suite, and he's like, "All my whole sense of humor is sarcastic," and I was like, "Well, good luck with that," because it always feels like you're punching down,
Yeah,
when
yeah, yeah.
you're sarcastic. So it's interesting watching him, having to navigate that. Although once everyone in the company really knew who he was, there was no problem because they knew that was a part of him,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's also know your audience, which I love.
True.
You know that you can go a little further with your team who knows you better. Do you find that when you've been in those situations that you've actually like do you feel like what would you rank the importance of humor?
In what sense? Like in the C-suite sense, or generally?
Yeah, in the C-suite sense.
I think it's critical. If I could find
Yeah.
a word which is
Yeah.
better, which is at a higher level than critical. The
No,
reason
I
the reason being,
yeah.
when you are with C-suite, and when you are with these executives, it
Mhm.
is very easy to feel the pressure, just the pressure of the room, because again, there are so many decision makers, and at the end of the day, there are so
Yeah.
many executives sitting in one room. That room has a very different aura, right? And if you are not, when you are using a little bit of very calculated humor, you are actually diffusing the tension in the room, number one. And number two, it actually help you convey your message in a much more better way, and you can actually command the room much more easily, because see, again, humor requires a lot of confidence. Again, confidence in doing the right way, doing the humor in the right way. I mean, you can do any humor, but then it might not be the right way of doing humor. But doing the
Mhm.
humor in a right way, using it in the right way, requires a lot of confidence, because again, you should be also situations where no one laughs at your humor, right? No one gets it. So you
Yeah.
should be confident that, okay, if it happens, I'm willing to take that risk a little bit.
It's a huge risk,
Yeah,
but it's worth it.
it's worth
It's
it.
worth the risk. And like if we're going to talk about confidence and the ability to take that risk, I think it's also in the best interest of the company that that's the
True,
culture that you're cultivating
true.
because it's so stifling if it's not.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, it is.
yeah, and these really old school companies, look at my hair. Oh, these really old school companies that have been around forever, I love the fact they are changing,
Yeah,
and even the fact you've gone from being a chartered accountant to an AI expert, like the fact that you're always staying curious and there's a lot to be said for changing careers midway or a few times and going, "Oh, I'm actually really interested in this." And I'm
yeah,
actually, that to me is you having a sense of humor about yourself. It could work, it couldn't. I'm gonna,
yeah,
hey, I might have enough to write a book. Hey, I'm got a great publishing deal. Hey, I'm gonna be speaking. Hey, like it says I take my work seriously, but I don't take myself too seriously.
yeah, yeah,
And I think
100%.
there's a big difference in that. I love
So
this
true.
conversation. Okay.
Same.
When you're doing your speaking and you're speaking about AI, thank God AI can't
Transformation.
write a joke.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, we're not there yet. But
Not there yet.
I always go back because I was doing shows in Oslo and in Norway, and one of their biggest industries in like the 1600s, 1700s was ice. They used to ship ice everywhere. And then some jerk developed a freezer and put their ice, right? And I sort of feel like I'm sort of feel so privileged that we have this sort of like bird's eye view of AI coming to be
Yeah.
and just like some sure jobs are going to change and we're going to think differently. I look at my kids are older now, but I look at my you know nephew who's 8 and he's a cyborg. He's
Oh, yeah.
always on. I'm just like, wow, you're going to think so differently
True, true.
than the way I grew up. I grew up roller skating and I
Yeah.
remember my first Walkman, which was just a
Oh, yeah.
radio. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just technology. And if we don't keep a sense of humor about how fast it's changing, I think
True.
that's when we'll be in trouble. Okay, so I always love to end the show by asking you, what is the funniest thing that's ever happened to you? Do you have a story you can tell?
So again, I mean, it's very hard to point out one funny moment. I mean, because again, I use humor a lot
Yeah,
regularly, anyway. So it's like, and I generally like the humor which is more extempore. You are doing in a very serious situation, and then you suddenly do a punch, create a
yeah,
punchline there, which
yeah.
everyone start bursting out in laughter. So that is something. But yeah, if I would really have to, there was once we have this had this you know a situation. So it was many years ago. We were in Pakistan at that time. So we were a team of like a couple of young accountants, auditors. We were doing audit of a company. So we used to go out for a walk in a nearby. There was a park. So whenever we were tired, we would just go out and walk. So one of the interns there, he told us that there is this. There are street vendors there who sell papadums with some weed kind of laced stuff in there,
Hmm.
right? So there is weed in there. So weed was, of course, illegal in Pakistan.
Right.
So we were like, okay, yeah, yeah, we want to try maybe sometimes. Yeah. Anyway, somehow, long story short, he ended up, having a couple of those. He found a person, he bought those, and he ended up having a couple of those. We all came back. I mean, it was like normal, like okay, nothing. Afterwards, he was working on something for a while, and he was very quietly working on his computer, and he was like too much into it. And we were like, okay, he's really into it. What is he actually working on? He's just an intern, he doesn't have a lot to
Huh.
work. And then suddenly he was started to you know sort of like scream out, where is my work gone? I couldn't save it, I couldn't save it, I couldn't save it, I think it's all gone, it's all gone. And we came to his computer, and he was actually working on his trying to save something on the computer, and the computer was off.
Ah,
And we were like, what were you doing? And he was actually working on his papers and just hitting control S all the time on the keyboard. And we were like bursting in laugh. laugh at that time. Of course, it was more situational. So at
Yeah, of
that
course.
time, we were like, we were crazy, and it stuck with me. So of course, it was very funny at that time. And we were like, I mean, seriously, you have been saving your paper files using Control S on a keyboard. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it sounded
Oh
really,
my
it
God.
seemed really funny at that time. Maybe haven't explained it in a funnier way it should
No, no,
have
I
been, but
love that. You know what? And those are the bonding moments. Those
true,
are the
true.
moments you always remember. Every time you see that person, you're going to go back
Oh,
to your
exactly.
computer was off, buddy. No.
Yeah, it was like 10 years, not 10 years ago. It's like I'm talking about somewhere like 15 years ago,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
it's
of
still
course.
with me. So, how many
Yeah.
things I remember from 15 years ago, right? Not a lot, but humor that that sticks.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're always brought back to that moment.
True,
And you know what? I always ask this question because people love retelling their funny stories. And it's a great way to connect with people that,
true,
like ask people. Everyone has their party story. When we go
true.
into a party and, you want to connect. So I always feel like it's a great way. And I love it. I have
Oh, thank you.
really enjoyed our conversation.
Same here. Same here.
So grateful for your time and so grateful for you sharing um, your message and how AI is really transforming the world and that we can have a sense of humor about it. So I
Oh,
really
of course.
appreciate it. Thank you so much,
Definitely.
Terry. Oh,
Definitely. No, thank you so much, Kate.